If you've been on the internet, you've probably heard of Undertale. And if you've heard of Undertale, you've probably heard of Papyrus the Skeleton. He's the goofy, kind-hearted, puzzle-loving brother to the Sans Undertale. But he wasn't always like that. During production, Undertale's creator, Toby Fox, was originally going to give Papyrus no redeeming qualities. According to him, he was originally going to be a creepy brony that, unlike every other monster, you dread having to spare. Toby thought this was too mean-spirited for a major character, and so he instead gave this idea to a much more obscure monster, Jerry, a character you might not even see during your playthrough. Like Toby, I think this is the right call. While a character like Jerry is funny in small doses, if a major character is made to have no redeeming or fun qualities, it just feels like the creator is trying way too hard to get the audience to hate them. That said, in a game all about pacifism, the idea of a character being so hateable that you want to kill them even when you have the option not to is an interesting one, and it would be cool to see that in an Undertale boss fight. It's a good thing fan projects exist, because in 2023, a fan-made prequel to the game, Undertale Yellow, did exactly that. Now, I assume you have one of two reactions. You either ignored the spoilers and haven't played Undertale Yellow, or you're absolutely appalled by my words because the game's filled to the brim with absolutely lovable characters to the point that it's a crime to compare any of them to Jerry of all characters. So, to quell your worries, I'll tell you that I not only like this character, they may actually be my favorite. But if that's the case, why are they so hateable? Well, unlike Jerry, who's hateable because it has a bunch of unlikable traits and nothing else, this character is hateable in a far more interesting way. Before you encounter this character, the previous boss fights have all fought for sympathetic reasons. Dalv tries to defend himself, and Martlet's just trying to follow Royal Guard protocol. I mean, there's also Decibat, but he's more of a mini-boss than anything, so I don't really count him. Besides, Decibat isn't really hateable either. He just wants you to be quiet, that's all. In addition to their motivations, both bosses immediately stop attacking once they realize the human, Clover, isn't trying to hurt them. However, once you enter the third area, the Dunes, that's when everything, and I mean everything, changes. Okay, I'm just kidding, this video isn't about El-BAIL-ador. While his boss fight may be tricky, the guy doesn't have a single bad bone in his body. Thinking about it, it's funny how I compare El-BAIL-ador to Jerry in the thumbnail when the two are complete opposites. While Jerry cannot directly attack you, it makes sure to make your life a living hell. Meanwhile, all El-BAIL-ador wants to do is spread joy and positivity to all he meets, but he unintentionally harms others in the process. So yeah, this video isn't about him. It's only until you enter the Wild East that you meet who I'm talking about. No, not them. No, let me just... Ah, here he is! This guy right here is Northstar. He runs this here town, and he's a massive fan of humans. So much so that he gets one of his goons to kidnap you and arrest Martlet, which is one of the 10 crimes against humanity! But that's not the reason why I made this video. While you're in his dungeon, Northstar allows you to explore the place before starting your training, and he allows you to do this before every training session. Both this and the training itself accomplish two things. As you can see, Star has a bunch of friends. He's got his goons from the Feisty Five, Ed, Murray, Ace, and Mooch, as well as a whole bunch of other residents in this town, all of whom you can talk to during these exploration periods. Having not just one, but multiple chances to explore the Wild East really shows you the community Star built for himself, and the friends he made along the way. I think my favorite part of this exploration is seeing the Feisty Five's humble home. Each member has their own special little bed, and in one instance, you can see the other 4 members taking a nap. It's really sweet, and it shows the camaraderie the 5 have with each other. There are so many instances of neat little tidbits when exploring this town that if I were to describe them all, I'd be here all day. The point is, all of it paints a picture of the Wild East's status quo, which leads me to the next thing these scenes accomplish. There is one character in the Wild East I haven't mentioned it, and it's Northstar's childhood friend, Saroba. Like the Feisty Four, we get to see tidbits of her and Star's friendship. But we also get to see her concerns over the whole ordeal. While Star has good intentions, Ceroba is starting to think he's going a bit too far with his antics, considering he's essentially trapping you in his place with no exit. Not to mention imprisoning Martlet! This somewhat indicates a sort of downward spiral, and we see this throughout the training sections. It starts with Ed getting upset with how Starlo completely changed the first training session on the fly, and Star saying that he wouldn't give his inheritance to Mooch. Then it continues with Star making you choose between Ed and the rest of the gang. Wow, Ed's really getting the short end of the stick, huh? And it all culminates with North Star deciding to make you his deputy, something each member of the Feisty Four has been waiting for a long time, while you got it for basically doing nothing. Because we've spent so much time with the Feisty Four and have the context of Star starting to go a bit too far with his admiration for humans, we can really feel the extent of how hurt these guys are. The Feisty Five are like a family, but the moment a human steps into the East, North Star not only traps them there, but he throws the rest of his lackeys under the bus. Or train in this case. All because they aren't some human like Clover is. So when the four decide to gang up on you the moment Star turns his back for a second, you don't blame them one bit. That said, while Clover is the domino effect that led to this whole mess happening, ultimately, Starlo is the blame. When all of his friends rightfully leave him for what he's done, Starlo not only doubles down, but he has the audacity to blame you for making him drive all his friends away. All you did was try to get to Heartland. It was Starlo who arrested a member of the Royal Guard, kidnapped a child, and stabbed his friends in the back. And instead of owning up to the fact and apologizing, he decides to kill you. This is Starlo at his lowest. His friends are all gone, his reputation is destroyed, it's just you, him, and the lasso tied around your soul. Speaking of, it's really interesting to think about his method of fighting, because it actually changes a lot depending on the route you play. In the No Mercy route, Starlo is the only character up until that point to not have a traditional boss battle. Instead, he challenges you to a good old-fashioned duel, with an A. Not only is this a really tragic callback to one of the training sessions in the other routes, it shows how much Star has fallen in his other fight. Starlo was once a man of honor and fairness. Now, he's resorting to dirty, underhanded tactics to more easily harm the last person close to him. At that moment, I wanted him dead. In the same way the Feisty Four wanted to knock me down a peg for causing Starlo to make me his deputy, I wanted to give Starlo a taste of his own medicine. After all, why should Starlo get to live when he's trying to kill me for the crime of existing next to him? But as much as I wanted to kill him, I didn't. More specifically, I couldn't. You see, I always like to make my first playthrough of any Undertale game a coin flip challenge, in which I spare a monster if I land heads, and kill them if I land tails. For Starlo's fight, I got heads, meaning I had to spare him, whether I liked it or not. This is why I compared Starlo to Jerry and Beta Papyrus. All three share the subversion of Undertale's message by making the player dread sparing them. But while Beta Papyrus and Jerry do this by being one-dimensional annoyances with no redeeming qualities, Starlo was a fleshed-out character with good intentions before falling into a downward spiral. Slowly but surely, each of Starlo's redeeming qualities fell to the wayside as his obsession with humans consumed him before becoming the shell of a man we hate to see alive. So much so, in fact, that it was only by following random chance that I spared Starlo to begin with. And I'm happy I did. After the fight, Starlo and Ceroba talk it out, Starlo makes amends, and you get to learn more about this guy and his family in the next area. While Starlo was in the wrong here, this whole chat really shows to me how much this conflict got blown out of proportion and how it was mostly fixed by talking it out. The only reason things got so heated to begin with was that multiple parties felt like they needed payback, whether it be the Feisty Four fighting Clover, Star fighting Clover, and ultimately, you fighting him back. It reminds me of a line one of Star's goons, Moray, says before they leave him. Forgiveness is just an apology away. But if I decided to kill Starlo as I initially wanted, he would have never gotten the chance to do any of that. Starlo's family cannot be interacted with as they are too worried about his whereabouts. And of course, Starlo can't apologize for his actions if he's dead. By killing him, I made Starlo's lowest moment his legacy, the last thing people ever saw of him before he died. And the fact that Ceroba is still worried for Star even when he never got to apologize shows how easily things could have gotten better had I give Starlo another chance. This is a fantastic moment in the game. Undertale is all about how no one has to die, and this moment shows us how that still rings true for characters with hateable qualities, because if they die, you'll never know if they change for the better. That theme doesn't stop here though. In the final battle for the pacifist route, you fight against Ceroba, who plans on combining Clover's soul with that of her comatose daughters as a way of completing her late husband's mission to save monster kind. After the fight, Ceroba takes a step back and realizes all the terrible things she's done. She was the one who caused her daughter to fall down, and if it weren't for your persistence, she would have killed both her and you off for good. This is Ceroba at her lowest. Her husband is dead, her daughter is as good as dead, and her two friends have been knocked out by her attacks. It's just you, her, and the gun pointed at her head. All you need to do is pull the trigger. Ceroba doesn't forgive herself for what she's done, but you can. We've seen before in this game that just because you've reached a new low doesn't mean that things can't get better. You can always take the right path again, just as long as you're alive to do so. You'll never know if things will get better if you don't keep on living to find out. And if you don't, well, you can't. You will never get that chance again. Even if others know you could have if you were still alive, the point is, you're not anymore. That chance was robbed from you. And that's something Starlo painfully reminds you of if you decide to kill Ceroba on the pacifist route. You know, I haven't actually finished Undertale Yellow's No Mercy route. I didn't finish it in Undertale either because I felt like it was getting a bit boring by the time Hotland rolled around, and since that aspect isn't really in Undertale Yellow, I may have completed it, but I decided to take a break around Ceroba's boss fight. It was pretty hard. That said, there's something about the run that I can't get my mind off of. One of the reasons this route is less boring in Undertale Yellow is that it has a lot more unique boss fights. While the first unique No Mercy boss fight in Undertale was Undying the Undying all the way in Waterfall, Yellow's first unique fight was with Martlet at the end of Snowdin. She had a really tough fight and I didn't expect to lose as many times as I did to her, but what's even more unexpected is the fact that at the end of the fight, Martlet flees. This was not only a smart move on her end since it would have been the only way for her to survive in a fight where her opponent could reset the match until she loses, it also gives her the opportunity to meet us again at the dunes. At this point, my killing is not stopped. All monsters from the ruins, Snowdin, and the mines are dead. I even killed El-BAIL-ador, the kindest character in the game. At the end of the day, Starlo was just a bad friend, and Ceroba just wanted to save monster kind. Me though? I went out of my way to end the lives of countless monsters, all for the sake of morbid curiosity. I'm far worse than anything those two could have done, and it's not even close. In a way, I'm the one who's the most like Jerry and Beta Papyrus in that I have no redeeming qualities. All I have done is maim every monster that came my path, and Martlet knows this by now. If I were in her shoes, I'd try to kill me without hesitation. But she doesn't. Martlet spares me, because even though I've done this much harm, there's still a chance I can stop the killing. It may be highly unlikely, and doing so wouldn't bring back the rest of the monsters I've harmed, but there's still a chance. She gave me a chance. When writing this very video, I thought about how I gave both Starlo and Ceroba that same chance, and they proved to me that doing so was the right call. It only feels right that I do the same. Even though it seems like I've reached my lowest point, I'm still alive, which means this doesn't have to be my legacy. It's not too late for me to stop, I can change! And that's what I'm gonna do. Martlet gave me this chance, and I'm not gonna waste it. This No Mercy run is officially over. From now on, I'm not gonna kill a single monster ever again! Should I skip the dialogue? Nah, I'm not. I hope Um, well, Mortley, are you gonna be proud? Hope you're proud of me, Mortley. Not gonna kill another monster again. I honestly expected him to kill me, and I was gonna be like, well, I deserved it. Um, now this just makes me sad. Oh my word. Oh, I kind of feel sad now. What? Hey, wait a minute. What? Huh? I didn't. What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I can't take anymore. I didn't. Are you kidding me? The whole point was that I wasn't gonna kill him, and that was gonna be the end of the video. Are you kidding me? You know what? Screw this. Everyone deserves to die.